Hi everyone, it's Miss Elise from the Morristown and Morris Township Library, and today I have a little bit of a different video for you. I kind of wanted to have a heart-to-heart with you, if that's okay, to talk about kind of a subject that I'm very passionate about, and I want to bring some advice upon you in case that you have enjoyed my videos and kind of want to pursue doing this artistic and creative endeavor upon yourself. I guess let's get started with what I want to talk to you about. I kind of wanted to talk to you guys today about how you can be a better artist and how anyone can kind of be an artist. Regardless if they have been doing it. If you have or haven't been doing it for years and years and years, like seemingly every artist that we have in our history books and that you meet on the street, kind of. But I wanted to first start off with a quote that I really, really like by Seth Godin. He says that anyone can be an artist without even becoming an artist. Art isn't only a painting. Art is anything that's creative, passionate, and personal. And I think that's really, really true. Art is a spectrum, much like anything else that we have in our life, from food to color to nature to weather, it's all kind of a gray area, and art can be what you choose to make it to be. And the more that you explore that kind of spectrum and lean into your passions, the more that you're going to create this type of art that you're really, really passionate about. I have always kind of gotten the typical person who realizes that I do art and I do it, and I've learned professionally how to do art, or am learning. They're always like, oh, I could never be an artist, like I can't even draw a stick figure and be happy with myself about it. And I'm always really discouraged when people come up to me and say those sorts of things, because they shouldn't have that much lack of confidence in their capabilities. And like Seth Godin said, like, art isn't just painting or drawing or capturing the hyper-realisticness of an object or a person. Art is a spectrum, and it is how you view that spectrum is how you are going to influence your art and creative abilities. So I really want to encourage any of you who maybe believe that you can't draw a stick figure to really step out of your comfort zone and to actually view art in a very, very different way. It's taken me a very long time to understand that art can be not just fine arts. It can be photography, it can be collage, it can be mixed media, it can be sculpture, it can be basket weaving, it can be embroidery, it can be sewing, it can be legit anything that you are passionate about and you are creating on a daily basis. I don't also want you to have a lack of confidence in yourself either. When people come up to me and say that they can't draw stick figures, it makes me feel for them, because like there was one point in time where like I myself also wasn't really, really good at what I do now, and I'm still not as good as what I probably will be in 10 or 20 years from now. And I think people have a really hard time understanding that art is very much a process, and it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of practice, and it also takes a lot of patience, depending on the type of art that you choose to pursue. And we have grown up a lot in a society, especially you and me, because we are younger. If you are watching this video and you're probably under the age of 15, you have kind of grown up in a generation where everything is kind of brought to us really quickly, like Amazon Prime, or streaming services, where you can download movies and TV shows. But art is not like that. You can't just sit down, say, oh, I'm going to create something today, and then possibly finish that creation today. Does that make sense? It is much more of like, I'll put some pieces over here, and the time lapse that it took me to actually do them. But I've had pieces that I've worked on for months at a time and still even aren't really finished because I just, either it takes a really long time because it's so incredibly detailed, or it's just incredibly, time-consuming to do, tedious, that's the word. But all art doesn't have to be that way. Makes sense. Art can really be something that you really enjoy, and as long as you enjoy it, the patience that you have for it is going to grow exponentially. Like, I did this George Harrison colored pencil piece about a year ago. It took me about 2.5 months to do, and it did get a little stressful at times because I just wanted to be done with doing it at certain points when I would get into a really difficult spot in the face or the flowers, and I would be like, oh, I just want to stop. But then I remembered why I began the piece in the first place, because I really like George Harrison and his music, and I wanted to commemorate him as person. And so I was like, I really got back into my passion for why I had started the piece, and it kind of reignited my patience, and so I was able to finish the piece in those 2.5 months, and really enjoyed the entire process of actually creating it. So I guess I have been talking for quite a while, so I guess I should start giving you some actual advice that you can take forth in your life ahead of you. So firstly, I want to say to you, in order to be a better artist, I guess the 3 P: patience, practice, and passion. Those are really, as long as you are passionate about what you do, you will be patient with what you're doing. And as long as you're practicing what you're doing, you will have passion for what you're doing. It's kind of like a cycle. You're just going to get better at what you're going to do, and you're going to love what you do because you're going to get better at it. And because you're getting better at it, you're going to have more patience with yourself because you know that it takes time to create this process. 4 P's. Things take time, and you should have passion for what you're doing, because if you're not happy with it, then it's stupid to do it, because it's not bringing you joy, and so there's no benefit overall from it at all. There's actually a quote. This is a quote by Camille Corot, and it says, if my time has come, I shall have nothing to complain of. For 53 years I have been painting, so I have been able to devote myself entirely to what I loved best in the world. And I think that really explains the entire kind of world of the 3 P's, is like, as long as you love what you're doing, I guess that's the second word of advice. As long as you love what you're doing creatively, you're going to be really passionate about what you do, and that's just going to fuel like even more of that creativity within you, and you're just gonna have so much inspiration from it, and you're really going to be able to grow as an artist and actually be able to produce work that you're really proud of and that you want to share with the world. Under that I really want to talk about is confidence. Art and confidence is a really, really toxic relationship because artists as a whole are being compared to other artists. And that should not be the case because, like we said before, art is very much a spectrum. So you're going to have some art over here that's very different from the art over here, and you can't really compare the two because they're so different in their composition and their design. So it's almost like it's not good. It's a juxtaposition. We should not be comparing ourselves to anyone because they're just so different from what we actually are creating ourselves. And who you really should be comparing yourself to is to yourself, because you want to be able to see yourself grow as an artist. And so as long as you are doing the work, putting the time in, and actually producing product, then you're going to be able to see yourself grow over time and actually begin to create something that's really, really cool, and your confidence is going to grow because of that. So I really tried to focus plainly on what I could do by myself and not really try to pay attention to other people's works of art in the sense that they were better than mine, because they are so different, you know? And I don't think it was until I won the Congressional Art Competition in 2019 that I really began to see myself as a legitimate professional. Not really a professional, I'm still working on learning, but I was able to see myself in a very different limelight. This is the piece that won, by the way. I was able to see myself in a very different limelight, and my confidence only just grew because of that. So, I guess it's putting yourself out there. There's a lot of art being made all the time. I bet you somebody's making art right now as we speak. Maybe you are. I don't know. But the more that you see this art, the more you get inspired. And therefore, you should put your work out there because it might inspire somebody else. I started an art Instagram account about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I don't have very many followers at all. But I enjoy putting my work up there because it gives me a platform to actually see myself from a very outside perspective, and I think that's really good, especially for art, because you want to be able to kind of look at it from all different angles. Art is very can be interpreted in very, very, very different ways. And you want to be able to see what other people think of your artwork from very, very different angles, so that way if you do end up not being satisfied with your final product, you can inevitably go back and change it or redo it and do something completely different. Nothing is ever permanent. Tip number 5 or 6, I don't remember. I don't remember. Nothing is ever permanent in art, and I think that's what makes you a really, really good artist, is knowing that you can always, 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 always go back and change, or go back and redo, or go back and do something completely different in name of that whatever piece that you weren't satisfied with. Art is ever changing and art is ever growing, so it's a spectrum, but it's ever expanding. So it's really, 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 really important to understand that in order to actually pursue your creative endeavors, because once you know that, then you kind of have this freedom, and you shouldn't have anxiety about what you're doing, because if what you're doing is your passion, then know that you can always, you A, will always make mistakes, but B, you can learn from those mistakes and grow and fix them as you grow as a person. And I think that's really powerful. It should also be something that you're really, really connected with. Personally, art therapy has a really deep connection with the self and your artwork, because you can really see yourself in a lot of the pieces. Specifically for me, I work a lot with self-portraiture, so meaning I do a lot of pictures of myself, not to be egotistical, but I do. It's what I enjoy. There are some examples, but it should be something where you are able to express what you are actually feeling and how you are actually feeling on the inside. And so the more that you do that, the more that you're going to be freer as an artist, because you understand that everything that you are doing, you're doing for yourself and not for other people. That's another really valuable lesson in art, is knowing that you're doing it for yourself and not for an audience, specifically an audience. I think we get really wrapped up in the idea that the great artists worked for others and rather for themselves, and I don't think that's very true. We still kind of see that even with Picasso, and he's doing all this cubist kind of artwork, and it's growing and it's changing in a movement, but it's not really, you can see him in the art, but you can also, it also doesn't really feel like Picasso because he's doing it obviously for an audience, because he's built up an audience over time. I think a really prime example of what we should aim to be more like is Frida Kahlo or Vincent van Gogh. They both used art as a catalyst for their inner thoughts and expressions and feelings rather than for somebody else. And they just wanted to satisfy their inner qualms, and I think that's the real beauty of art, is it having a meaning to you and only you. If other people find meaning in your work, that's great. The more the merrier. But its prime goal should be to A, be something that you're passionate about, and B, something that has meaning to you. Because if it doesn't have a meaning to you, then it's kind of worthless. There's a really good quote by Wangechi Mutu, who says, "Art allows you to imbue the truth with a sort of magic, so it can infiltrate the psyches of more people, including those who don't believe the same thing as you." And I think that is really, really powerful, because he's kind of saying something really, or they are kind of saying something very similar to what I'm saying, is that you may have a very different view from your audience on something that is really meaningful or really powerful to you, and if you can portray your emotions through this work of art and it can impact other people, wow, that's life-changing. Kind of a lengthy, kind of a really talky video, but I really hope that you do get something out of it, because I really enjoy making art in any form. I recently took up sewing, and I've actually had a really big time, I have a really big love for it now, and it makes me really happy and passionate, and I want you to be able to feel the same thing, regardless if what you're doing is Minecraft videos, or maybe you're doing magic tricks, or something else. Maybe you're skateboarding and it's the big passion of your life, and I just want you to know that what you're doing is you are creating, and you are putting creative inspiration into your life, and you are not an artist because of it. Because art is a spectrum, like we said, and it's something that is really powerful and can mean a lot and can impact a lot of other people. So, on that note, I really hope that you guys keep creating and that you understand that you are an artist already, even if you don't think that you are. But you are, because we all do something creative every single day. So, with that in mind, I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk if you did get through the whole thing. If not, that's okay too. I hope that you get something out of this, and I will be back next week with some more crafts for you, and hopefully you enjoy doing them, because I really enjoy making them. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next week, and I hope you have a really good one. Bye!